Welcome to your library time, library time, library time. Welcome to your library time. We're so very glad you're here. Come and sit down for library time, library time, library time. Come and sit down for library time. We're so very glad you're here. And I am so very glad that you're here and able to join me for story time. So I'm going to share a story with you, and then if you want to, you can even take an AR quiz on it. And remember, if you can't read the quiz, have mommy, daddy, or somebody that's there with you read the questions and the answers to you, and then you get to choose what the right answer is. All right, here we go. So here's the story I want to read to you. It's called Melia and Jo by Billy Aronson and Jennifer Oxley. Miss Shrader had her tongue tied right there. And let me see, on the inside right here, it's very interesting. There's like blueprints, like someone designing something, trying to decide how they're going to put a project together and make it interesting. Look at that. More blueprints. Oh, this is of a robot of some kind. Very interesting. And here's our title page, Melia and Jo by Billy Aronson and Jennifer Oxley. They're the author and the illustrator. And down at the bottom is the publisher and place of publication. And of course we call it the title page because big on the page is the title. So here we go, Melia and Jo, narrated by Miss Jay Shrader. Melia loved science. Every day in her backyard lab, she would create things that could scrub and pitch and tickle and bounce and fly and ding, or even make your bed. Most of Melia's creations weren't finished. She just kept on working on them, measuring, testing, reading, observing, having a snack, and testing again. And if the invention didn't work yet, she went through all those steps again. One day, Melia was working on an airplane made of paper. She adjusted the wings. She adjusted the tail. She put the propeller a teeny bit further out. But still, the plane wouldn't soar. How could she make it fly fast and far? Suddenly, Melia heard a strange sound. Growling? Yowling? Yelping? The sound was coming from the girl who had just moved in next door. She seemed to be singing while crouching and leaping around. The girl came whirling and twirling toward Melia. "I'm Jo," she said, "but you can call me Jojo or Josephine or Jojo on the go, go, go." I'm Melia," Melia replied. "You can call me Melia." Melia started to explain that she was busy working on a really important invention when Jo leaped right into Melia's lab. "You've got so much cool stuff here, Melia Bobelia," said Jo as she flipped a bowl with an antenna and put it on her head. That's not a hat, actually," said Melia, carefully flipping it again. Jo held up a bendy contraption and turned its crank. "I love this bendy ladder." "It's actually not a ladder," said Melia. "Cool plane," said Jo, picking up the paper plane and tossing it. "Careful," said Melia. As the plane plunged toward the mud, Melia dove to catch it. Jo plucked a dandelion. "Too bad your plane doesn't fly like the fluff on a dandelion," she said. Puff! The seeds went soaring in all directions. Jo stopped to take a bite out of a licorice stick. Then she squealed, "Ooh, ooh, ooh! Check out the clubhouse balloon thing!" Jo poked her licorice stick into the neck of a small headless robot for safekeeping as she dashed toward the clubhouse. The robot was one of Melia's favorite inventions. Its head kept falling off, but she loved it just the same. "You can't put a licorice stick in my robot!" Melia shouted. Jo didn't even seem to hear. She skipped right back to her yard and started a new dance. As Melia put her inventions back in order, she laughed about Jo's silly ideas. She thought my cereal bowl radio was a hat. But as Melia held the bowl upside down, she began to wonder. When Melia put her plane back, she remembered how Jo blew on the dandelion. Could Melia blow on a plane to make it soar? Next, Melia reached for her headless robot and gasped. With that sticky licorice in the robot's neck, the head stays right in place. Melia was shocked. Jo is a genius. Melia hurried over to Jo's yard. "Yo, Jo!" she called. But Jo didn't answer. She was creating a dance inspired by a leaping frog. Melia came closer. "Can we be a team, Jo? Please, please, please?" "No dealia, Medelia," Jo replied, leaping higher and higher. "Why should I try to make a plane that soars when I can soar myself?" "Watch out!" shouted Melia. But it was too late. Jo had leapt so high she had gotten stuck in a tree branch. "Hang on, Jo!" Melia dashed away and dashed right back with a crank contraption. As she turned the crank, its bendy ladder reached all the way up to the branch. Jo scampered down the ladder. "Your inventions are the real deal, Mule." "I wouldn't have known about this invention's true use if it weren't for you," said Melia. "It never worked as spaghetti server, but when you called it a ladder, I realized it would be perfect for getting people down from trees." Melia brought out one invention after another to show to Jo how she'd helped improve them. The antenna hat was perfect for listening to the radio while walking. The licorice stick kept the robot's head on. And when she blew into a straw in the back of the plane could soar fast and far. Jo realized that Melia was right. These two were meant to be together. They headed over to Melia's lab. "I'm sorry I yelled at you," said Melia. "Sorry I stuck my licorice stick in your robot's neck without asking," said Jo. As they began working on inventions, Melia didn't mind if Jo rearranged things, or turned them upside down, or gave them funny names. She realized that was Jo's way of working. Melia helped with Jo's creations, too. She concocted a gooey material that they could use to make set pieces for Jo's dances, and homemade musical instruments they could play when Jo was singing her songs. By combining Jo's art skills with Melia's science skills, they could create more super cool stuff together than either could create alone. When the robot waddled by, Melia said, "Let's call him Ronaldo the Licorice Neck Robot." "Great idea, Amazing Amelia," said Jo. "Thanks, Genius Josephinus," Melia replied. Ronaldo Licorice Neck wouldn't last long, but the friendship between Melia and Jo would last forever.